What's up, everybody? Welcome to Daily Refinement. This channel is about growing an online eBay store and personal development. Today, the topic is how do you double your eBay store? So most of us don't necessarily have twice as much time. So how do you do it? And even if you're not interested in doubling your eBay business, it is interesting just to think about how you would do that. Eduardo, good morning. Do you want to start? How would you double the number of sales in your eBay store? Any ideas?
I think I just did it. I was talking to Michelle and Tech the other day, and I've been doing some improvements in my store, lowering my prices, doing some promotions, and mostly taking almost every offer that comes in. And my sales have grown like $6,000 in 2 weeks or something like that. So it's interesting. I mean, they haven't doubled fold, but they are growing, and it's only 2 weeks. So I project it will kind of get there somehow. But I think that's the way to go. Revise your store, basically check your prices, and get some promos out there that are like really heavy, 30%, 50%, 40%. And then that can help, drive more sales to your store. That's what I'm doing right now.
Great. So this question is a bit complicated. It can be anything. It can be double the number of listings going up, double the profit, be double the revenue, right? So
How do
it
you
all
double
comes.
the listings, Chris? That's something like I would like to do that, but it's like, and I'm listing every single day, constantly. But doubling the listings of the 6,000.
Traditionally, to double your listings, you double your listing daily habit. As an example, for me, we're at 1,000 per week. If I decide to double it to 2,000 per week, I need like different everything. I need more different storage, because I would need more storage. I would need more people because I can't list an extra 1,000 with the current crew. I would need more suppliers. I would need a different sorting area. If it came 2,000 pieces like separated, it would be nice. But if all came at the same time, it would be, I wouldn't know how to handle that. But I think you hit it right on the nose, Eduardo. Normally, the first double is just you don't need to add anything revenue wise or profit wise. You can take more aggressive offers, adjust your store more. So I was thinking, I am gonna do a reseller nightmare improvement. I want somebody with less than 1,000 items in their store, and this is my plan. If I were to try to reseller nightmare somebody's store, I could I would show up if you have less than 1,000 items, whatever inventory system you have. We would change it to a chronological system. So I would arrive. We would I think this is my plan. Let's say you have 1,000 items and the goal is 10 sales per day and list 10 per day. So I would show up, we would get 70 items that we want to list, right? We would photograph and list those 70 items in maybe 2 or 3 hours, list all 70 of those items, schedule them out for a week. So 10 listings for 7 days in a row, get that knocked out right away as soon as I arrive. Then the rest of the time, I would convert every single item to the new inventory system. And during the conversion, I would adjust the title, the discount, the promotions, the keywords. If they needed photos, we would redo it. If it was a horrible listing, we would just end it. And I think in one day, in like 8 hours, you could redo an entire store. And the part that most people wouldn't do is set up the listings to be consistent for a week. So then I would tell that person, you have 1 week to develop this listing habit. You have a draft bank of 60, 10 are going up today, 10 the next 6 days. Don't screw it up. Go to the next store. I think that would be how you can literally fix somebody's store in one day. I think that would work. Yeah. So Cheryl is saying getting a ton of inventory at once can break your process. Yep. Also, getting a ton of inventory little by little can also break your process. Because if you buy more than you list, that habit will result in a storage problem. You can't. That's why Tech was saying he's in a good place, because he's pretty much listing what comes in. That's a good place. So you got to just make sure you're at that equilibrium. If you're still growing and you don't have many items, you need to grab a few more. Yesterday, Isaiah finished a long day of sourcing and then had to excuse me, prep, photograph, and list after. And that's pretty challenging with a 20 to 25 a day listing goal. At the end of the day, to knock that out can be tiring. But if he had his goal is actually 22. So if he did 25 listings instead of 22 for 10 days, he would have one banked extra day of stuff ready to go. So it's just doubling your store is actually just like a little bit of an increase in a few things here or there, and your sales would double. Let's see.
When you say your sales double, you mean like your total sales for the month, or you mean like your amount of sales? Like if you do 5, make it 10 a day, 10 sales per day. Or if you're doing 10, then make it 20 a day.
It's a good question. It's related. Usually, if your store is twice as big and all things are the same, your revenue would be twice as many and your number of sales would be twice as many.
Because that I noted, like immediately when I started doing those changes, instead of I was getting 7 to 10 sales a day, and now I'm getting 22 and 27 sales per day, which is like really nice. And that's immediate. Like I noticed that immediately. Now doubling in the month, of course, I have to, wait the month to see if the income doubles. I don't think it's gonna double, but it'll get much larger than right now.
So let's look at this from a basic level of traffic and conversion. Yesterday on a $99 call, there was a family with 3,000 items in their store, and they sold around, let's say, like 18. So not quite 1%, but over 0.5%. Pretty decent. When we looked at their store, most of their titles were in the wrong order. Some of the item specifics were incorrect, and the pricing was a little bit too high. So this is an interesting example, because let's say you went through the store, there's 3,000 listings. You made the titles in the right order. You removed all the item specifics that were wrong or inaccurate, or erroneous, meaning like the item specific doesn't matter. What that would do is more people would now be able to see the same 3,000 listings, because the titles and item specifics are better. So more people would see it. If you adjusted the price a little bit lower, more people would convert. So you're going to get both boosts: more people looking at your store, more people actually buying. And I would say the shipping costs were like maybe a tad too high in some areas. So if they did that, plus they were not running a coupon and they did not have any markdown of any sort. So Sally had asked the question earlier this week about, should you run a coupon or should you do a markdown? In the end, the number that matters the most is total price. So a $15 item versus a $20 item with $5 off versus a $20 item with 25% off, it's all $15. So you're going to get X amount of people viewing your item. The only way to get more people to view or more conversion would be to offer it at $14, however you do it, right? That little adjustment. So if that store, after they change the titles, lower the price slightly, add a coupon, I imagine they'll go from 18 sales a day to could be 30 sales a day. Just those small changes without listing more, they could actually increase it. But their daily listing habit, this is interesting. This is a great example. They were at 20 and they doubled it to 40, but their sales didn't move. Stayed the same, still had 18 sales a day. So from my experience and Tech's experience, it could take up to a year for the listings to catch up, provided your item specifics are all correct. Now, here's the problem. Let's say eBay is determined your listings are not that good. They won't give you the corresponding traffic. They only give you the same type of traffic if the conversion remains the same. So before you grow, go back, make sure titles, pictures, item specifics, and your defect rate is 0, because then it can keep growing. And I think that ripping the Band-Aid off, doing the whole inventory at the same time, while you're adjusting the inventory to whatever new system, Or you can even move your inventory from one side of the room to the other side of the room. And as you're just checking it, fix the titles, pricing, you could double your sales without listing more, actually. Jeff is asking how much defect rate affects traffic. I think tremendously. I mean, everybody will notice a little traffic adjustment if you have a negative feedback or if somebody opens a case. Any defect has some kind of an effect, but I think the most dramatic one is the most dramatic traffic decrease is when your listing habit changes. That I would rank listing habit changes number one. Number two would be defect rate. Late shipping also has a huge effect. When I was doing the Reseller Nirvana experiment, I shipped same day, and the traffic was way better than my big store. The same day shipping, I feel like, is the easiest way to provide a top-notch experience for your customer without spending any money. Somehow you just got to ship immediately, and it will show the customer. It will show eBay, wow, this person is really serious. So small store is fine, but ship fast, as accurate as possible. And I know what happened with this store. They were trying to get the blue lightning bolt, so they made up 5 to 10 item specifics per listing. And that really hurt them, in my opinion. All that extra data. So the handling time was 1 day, and I shipped same day when I did the experiment. So maybe there's something to do with the relationship between what you promise and what you deliver. Maybe if you have 3-day handling and ship same day, that's acceptable as well. Thomas, what's up? How do you double your huge store?
Oh, so for me, it would just be do more close. Yeah, it's not at all rocket science for me. I have an unlimited number of them, so why not actually get them listed? So that's what I'm working on. But I have a hypothetical.
Go ahead.
So you've now got a huge thing going on Whatnot. I'll turn on my camera. It's going really good.
Mm-hmm.
If you got your eBay store back, what would you do?
I'm excited for this question because I was thinking about it. So I'm talking to Griff right now, and apparently he's a seller advocate. So maybe I can get my eBay store back in a limited capacity. What I would like to do is a 1,000 item store with 10 sales a day at $30 profit or more. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if that's possible, but that's what I would do.
I mean, that's possible, but you really think you'd limit yourself to that?
I would, because there's a like, now that I've not had eBay, I'm thinking that I want there to be a finish line, because otherwise you just keep growing your eBay store forever. I like shipping, I like listing, but I don't want, like when I was doing that 10 a day listing thing in under an hour, that was enjoyable. I don't need any help. I can just do it in my garage. 1,000 items is awesome. If you made $30 an item, that's already 6 figures. And I could spend 41 minutes on my eBay store, and I could spend the rest of the day looking for things. And
yeah,
those types of items are good. Good.
And Whatnot at this point is kind of turnkey for you.
Whatnot is almost turnkey, except for there's some psychology built into a live auction versus there's not really much psychology built into an eBay listing. eBay listing is very much mechanical. I think that's what I've learned the most about tech is it's like a puzzle. He's put all these different pieces in place and then just leaves it like that and doesn't move it. So then Whatnot is different because you have somebody's attention for only a few seconds. So you have to keep people engaged the entire time. So that's a different puzzle to do regularly. And I think I know the format I know the foundation of Whatnot, but I don't know how to get more than $7 to $10 an item on average. And on eBay, you get so much more per item. You can do a lot less work per day, but it's not as exciting because you have to wait sometimes 3 months, 6 months for something to sell. But I would do 1,000 items, 10 a day, $30 profit. And now I know enough $30 profit items that I could actually do that. But it would be interesting. You'd have an ASP of like 50. And if you were feeling a crunch in cash flow, you could do like a 50% off sale and you probably sell 10% of your store that day because you have great stuff at a discount moves quickly, but you'd have to be really patient to find um to find $50 items ASP and to
I
pay
mean,
10.
for you, with all the stuff that's coming to you, you don't really have to do anything. You could just pull out the best stuff that you get for your whatnot, put that on eBay, put that on whatever. I still
Yeah.
say you run. Yeah. So that all sounds really good. Sounds really smart. That way, eBay probably wouldn't be too mad at you. And you could also, I've said this before, pick up all the marketing dollars from Mercari and Poshmark and have 3 10-item stores a day and just see how much eBay crushes them and just put it all to rest about
That's
which
a
is the best platform.
that's a really, really good idea. I talked to Christine about having 3 Poshmark, Mercari, eBay all separate, and maybe even they're her accounts, right? Maybe because if I can't sell on eBay, I could have somebody else's eBay account. I just can't actually manage it. But the key to it is you understand how to list an item in under 6 minutes, and most people in the group can do that. Then you just need to find the stuff. So if you have all day to find 10 items, you can do it. Um, Jeff is asking how profitable whatnot is. It's like maybe 20%. So it's okay. Whatnot has lower fees. I am entering the item in beforehand. If I didn't do that, I would be at 30% profit. It costs 10% to in labor costs to upload the item. And tech would say, why not a little bit more effort and list it on eBay? That if I had that option, that would be a good thing. And the really expensive small 1,000 item store that's in your garage, there's no commute time. The post office guy is not going to get mad at you for 10 packages. That's a peaceful place to be. Now, the 3,000 item store at home with the $10 average sale price, also excellent. 30 a day. These items that are $30 ASP have a lot less headache because they're just cheaper. So most people who have a problem don't return it anyway. Then if you go a little bit lower, like let's say you are buying bulk and your ASP drops and you have stuff delivered, then maybe you only make $5 to $7 an item. Then you need a 5,000 item store at home. That's a lot more space requirement, but a lot of people have space. So if you live in the middle of the country, that's not terrible having an eBay barn. In fact, I liked when I saw the eBay commercial with Teresa Cox and she's like, I'm going to my eBay barn. She walks out of her house into the eBay barn. I was like, that is so cool. I didn't even, she's like, I have 3,000 items in my store and they're all red. When I first saw that thing, I was like, that is mind blowing. But then here it would be expensive to have an eBay barn, but that concept of having an eBay barn, if you live somewhere cheap enough, is great. You could even talk about it, and you can turn that into a YouTube channel pretty easily if you want two streams of income, because that's really cool. If you have a monetized she shed, this is like a cool concept. So I think the 1,000 item 10 a day expensive, cool, rare, fun stuff, that's a great model, but you would need to live somewhere where you could find $50 items, or you need Thomas's knowledge on fabric and tags and like
No, no, I'm not nearly as good as like that American Eagle shirt is worth 17. That American Eagle shirt is worth 23. That's where my knowledge stops. I can just do the big picture stuff.
If I moved to Texas, I watched this documentary on Chinese people in Texas, and there's a Chinese guy with a ranch, and he's got a wall full of guns, and he's changing his kid's diaper in a field with a cigarette halfway out of his mouth, and I was like, that's the American dream. I thought that this guy totally embraced it. He has Texas bed sheets. And he's like, this is crazy. In China, you can't even have a gun. Here, you can have as many guns as you want. It was like was so funny. And my wife was like, I'm not coming with you. You can go have a ranch with guns by yourself. But I just think it was hilarious. And that's what I would do. I would get a ranch if I moved to Texas.
Last question, again, unrelated to doubling eBay income. When are we gonna do a whatnot call?
We can do that. I'm thinking, well, I mean, I haven't talked to Tech about this, but probably Thursday or Friday. I think the foundational stuff, like if you start on eBay, every other platform is easy. Because eBay is so hard.
Except Amazon.
Except for Amazon. Amazon's harder.
Yeah.
So we should add a whatnot call because there's like at least 100 people in the group that sell on whatnot at this point.
It's like 3/4 of the calls at this point are whatnot
Yes.
related.
We'll add that.
Okay. I say Friday.
Okay.
Hand it over.
And I do think it's relevant also because eBay will be adding live auction. So
Hey Chris,
Go ahead.
Chris,
What's up?
hey, do you think whatnot's gonna have any problems in the future? Like you see anything wrinkles coming? Like
Yeah, I do.
problems maybe?
The biggest problem is that they are too focused on new sellers. And it's going to be a problem. If there's too many sellers and not enough buyers, then it doesn't work. Nobody makes enough money and the buyers have a poor experience. So they just need to make sure they scale the buyer part. And if they do a good job finding younger people, I feel like it has a really bright future because eBay has all the 30 and over people. And if eBay hired Kevin Hart and The Rock to sell everything they have on eBay, then eBay would take the entire younger demographic, but they don't want to do stuff like that, which makes no sense to me because literally if The Rock live auctioned all of his stuff on eBay, it would have like 100 million viewers every day. That's like a third of America. Pay him whatever he wants to do that, and it'd be cool. And every young person would switch to eBay. It doesn't make any sense why they don't do anything like that. They just people think eBay right now and they think counterfeit. They totally screwed up that part. Cheap junk from China. Like the eBay daily deals is like the last time I went to eBay Open, it was like they were talking about a pink flamingo, $7 free shipping. That was what they were optimizing the eBay front page for. Like, why? Why is that what you are marketing when Kanye West could sell a jacket and get 1 million people to show up? What does the pink flamingo for $7 free shipping do? Anyway, so eBay has the traffic and the infrastructure to win. They just haven't done any cool marketing. I don't know what their issue is. Whatnot does not. It's buggy. Sometimes it doesn't work. Streaming video is expensive, so I don't know if they can sustain a huge amount of. I feel like it wouldn't work if millions and millions of people used Whatnot. I think it would break. But Whatnot eBay has 1 billion listings that operate pretty well, 99.99% uptime. So I don't know. I know Whatnot, according to my inside sources, has to spend $25 to make $1. How long can they do that before people don't want to give them money anymore to grow? And eBay is profitable. So Mercari and Poshmark to date have not even broken even. So it's kind of a weird future forecast. I mean, like outlook, I think, for e-commerce, because live auction is really cool, really fun, but how do you scale it? I think if they could figure out how to do only influencers, maybe that works because everybody brings their own audience and that kind of works. And maybe there's a little bit of crossover, but there's not that much crossover. Tech made this point, like I might bring 500 people to the website. Maybe after I'm done, they just leave. They don't stay and buy anything from anybody else. I don't know. I think there is some runoff, like because I like sneakers. I bought sneakers from a couple people on the site, and I wouldn't have been on there if I wasn't on Whatnot. Sometimes you can get a steal. So if the future is you can get a steal on Whatnot, then that will continue to make it grow. But there's two things that bring people in: cheap stuff or amazing stuff. So like on June 1st, they're gonna do a retail rally where they try to sell regular items that are really expensive for retail. That brings new users to the platform for sure. So if they can bring enough new people in, I think that site will be insane. Like if Eduardo had a live streamer in the United States selling toys, and it just was 24 hours a day. Here's the toy. Here's what it is. This is for this. Um, and let's say they don't know whatnot. You can do that. You can set the timer for 2 minutes and say, let's research this together. I don't know. We'll start at $1. Everybody in the audience, you look up what you think this is. These are the markings, and the people in the chat will tell you how much it's worth while the auction is going. Right. And if it's worth $20, somebody will pay $7 if you have enough people in the chat. And if you have unlimited inventory like Eduardo, 7 is fine. If you get 7 times 200 pieces a day, now you're making an awesome living without having to do the research part. You can have your audience do it. But you need someone that's fun and interesting to do that, to build a business. But also I feel kind of like I miss the reselling boat, because everyone that's older than 30 has probably been to a live auction before in their city, town, and I've only been to one. And it was, I went to one storage locker auction because it was in my storage unit. And I thought the unit was worth $50 and it got bid up to $500. So I'm like, I'm never going to another auction again. This doesn't make any sense. How could you bid 500 on this box? But if I had been to one where I got a deal, then I would have learned about how live auctions work in person, because they've been doing that forever. Live auctions have been a part of reselling for a long time. There's government auctions. A lot of it's moved online. But that's a huge part of reselling. I didn't realize that.
I guess you mentioned the storage unit auctions, and I do that. I used to do it all the time. I'm doing it now a little bit less because I'm more focused on the toys. But I still go because I like it, and I've noticed throughout the year, I've been doing it for 10, 12 years. So I've noticed that when there's an uneducated audience assisting that auction is when you get the prices to go higher, because people are in for the thrill and they're just, they don't mind spending $500 and maybe finding an incredible treasure in there, and then they just bid
Yep.
it up, but they have no idea what they're doing. But if you go with the reselling mind where you say like, okay, I can pay $50, I can turn it into 500. That's your mindset. And then you would pay up to 50, but people just don't know. And they're not there for that. They're just there for the treasure or for whatever. And because they, look at the TV series and, they think it's going to be super amazing and they just beat it up. That's what I think happens here. When all of us that are really like investing to resell and all of that go, and it's a smaller group of people bidding, prices go for the right price. It's just the outsiders that make it go higher.
You just nailed it, Eduardo. This is why Whatnot has a chance, because the entertainment part makes it worth it. Because when I went to that storage unit, it bid up to $500, and the guy thought it was worth it because he was gambling, so it was fun. So I said, "Hey, I'll help you clean it out for free. What did you buy for $500?" And this is in my storage unit. So whatever is in this storage unit that's useful, I don't need a box truck. I can just roll it over to my unit. So what is in here? And so we looked at it, and Brian says, until they have to clean it out, it's fun, right? And everyone that showed up to this auction brought their own box truck. So there was like 20 box trucks in the storage unit area. And the storage manager was pissed because she's like, there's no parking for customers. You guys come, and whenever we do these auctions, they're so stupid. There's like all these box trucks and we only have 2 units for 20 people. So anyway, when we cleared it out, 90% of the unit was alcohol. And when I saw because you could see that from the front of it, you could see alcohol and then a bunch of bankers boxes, and then one box of shoes. You could see one box of shoes, bankers boxes, which looked like records, and then alcohol. So then
So like alcohol to drink or like
alcohol to drink.
Okay.
So then we went through it. There was 3 pairs of shoes. I bought all 3 pairs of shoes from him. I think those are the only profitable items. The other stuff in the banker's boxes was just papers and receipts. And then the alcohol, I don't even know how you sell alcohol. I think it's illegal to sell alcohol.
Yeah, I
It's
think
worth
you can't
nothing.
sell it. You would have to, it's like perfume, I think. You would have to sell it empty or something like that, I think. I'm not too
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, exactly. So that was, but he was stoked. So, and he was able to take all of it with him in one day. I think that's part of it. So, but I think you're right, Eduardo. And that's part of the whatnot craze. So I've done both. I've done ones that are entertainment that I've hyped up. Like I'm having one next Friday, right? So that one will have, I spent or I mean it's $75,000 worth of inventory for one show, right? That's hype. I'm gonna try to make it interesting. And I think there's two kinds of shoppers on whatnot, right? There's the person looking for a good deal on something cool, and there's also the person looking wholesale. So anybody in the group right now can sell wholesale on eBay. You can put together a lot. You could do a lot of 400 toys, figure out the cheapest way to ship them. And then once you have that set up, you auction it or you put a buy it now. You could sell right now on eBay wholesale. Anybody can do that. The fees are sometimes prohibitive because you have to pay 12% plus processing, or 12% including processing, whatever your rate is for your category. That can be cost prohibitive versus a check or money order. But like as an example, I think this week Whatnot released tax exempt, which is pretty big for that website because they recognize that a lot of people are resellers on that website. So on eBay, you can also file for tax exempt. So eBay has the largest audience. You just have to find a product that you can wholesale and still have some money left because the transaction fee is too much. On a wholesale deal, usually you pay cash or wire transfer because the margins are so low. They need every penny. Sally, what's up?
Somebody really smart told me one time that when there's, you're looking for a job and there's a boom, or a company and there's a boom in health industry, don't go into hospitals, go into the things that hospitals need to supply their business.
Yep.
So with Whatnot, I can find things, I can list things. I don't know how to price them, or even with eBay, I don't know how to price them. It seems to me that I would pay someone to take properly listed and photographed items and do nothing for me except price them. Seems like that would be a good niche for somebody who's looking to augment their eBay income and have knowledge over a particular thing. And it wouldn't take them the time to photograph and describe.
This is a really good point. And since the topic is how do you double your eBay store, most people could double their eBay sales by just adjusting their pricing, right? So what you're mentioning, Sally, of somebody coming in and pricing everything, grading everything, that is the most valuable, highest per hour thing you can do in your eBay store. Because if I went to Eduardo's shop and I said, okay, all these toys right here are worth $17.99, all these toys over here are $19.99, and I knew the difference between $17.99 toy and $19.99 toy, that's a lot because you don't sell something for $17.99 that's worth $19.99. So you get a couple extra bucks when you should, and you don't price something at $19.99 that will never sell unless it's a $17.99.
And in fact, they wouldn't even have to list them. I would just send them a list, and in their spare time, they'd say, "Oh, this is a Micronauts guy, with wings," and he'd come back and say, "It's going to sell between 200 and 250." Great, that's all I need. I don't need him to fine tune it. I wish somebody would do that by category. So when I do get into areas, like I know I have sold some hats really underpriced because I didn't understand what a shark thing or a big logo or a three striper was.
Yeah.
I'd pay up for that.
And that's where being an expert in your niche nets you all the money. That's really what we preach in this group is pick one category so you can be the expert that knows the difference between a $20 hat and a $150 hat because it has the shark tooth pattern. So you become really valuable when you know that. So other people could hire you to price their items. They could tag you. Pittsburgh Mike is in the group, and you can pretty much tag him on any pair of jeans and he'll tell you everything about it.
Yeah, but I'd like to do it formally so I could actually pay somebody and let them make some money during the slow time of the year. So have
Yeah.
a list of our group people who say available to price for X amount and, for the next month, and they could
Yep.
pick up extra money during the slow time. I'd use them.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I think maybe, I mean, right now you utilize the group, but until we formalize that operation where you upload a couple of pictures, or maybe you do the listing with a test title, and then you share the link with somebody, and then they look at the pictures and they, or maybe you price the item at $1 million and then you send over the link. And then they tell you what the real price is. I don't know yet on how to formalize that, but you would have to give the person who's researching it them as much information as possible so they could be as accurate as possible. But if that service existed, Tech might do 24 hours in a row and make $5,000 because he is really good at research.
And you've already taught us, really. This isn't for somebody who just picks up a load of crap and said, here's this box, price it. It's for those of us who believe in we know how to do a good listing. We know how to do good
Yep.
pictures. We know how to do descriptions. And so it would pretty much be a work at home way. And either I probably would take a percentage because that's a lot of book work, but just say, hey, I do this for, X amount per item. If you have 10 to 15 items, I do it for this much. If you have 100 items, I'd buy.
No, I think that's a great idea. I think right now we have resources for you to provide that. I mean, we can all research if you post an item in the group and you want exact pricing, but I think that's the level of detail you need in order to double your store. I'm on baby duty. Brian, how do you double your eBay store?
Like you're talking about quantity, or I'm sorry, I wasn't at the beginning of the call.
So the prompt for today is how do you double your eBay store? It can be anything you choose: double the sales, double the profit, double the inventory. It could be as simple as doubling your listing habit, but most people don't have twice as much time. So how would you sell things twice as fast?
Well, if you're doubling the amount, well, then you have to become more efficient, which kind of like all the things we've talked about, niching down, or you could niche down even further, like maybe just sell jeans, just sell shoes, just sell men's shirts if you want to double quantity. And then that would help with pricing and all the things you were just talking about. If you want to double your ASP, well, then that's kind of the opposite. You're going to spend more time sourcing, getting better inventory, and then you won't have to list as much. So it kind of just depends on what you want to do.
What do you want to do?
That's the eternal question. Right now, I guess I'm going more on the ASP, but since I'm doing shoes, I'm able to go sourcing. Like I've been sourcing the past 2 days and find items that are $40 plus. So it's more sourcing intensive and less listing intensive, which is the opposite for me. But since I also have access to a lot of clothing, I don't know if that would count as doubling. I'm trying to supply some people who need inventory, kind of like a little wholesale side gig, because it doesn't take a lot of time and I can make a little, my thought is if I can pick up clothing while I'm sourcing for shoes and I can do it efficiently, then the wholesale money would pay for the cost of goods on the shoes. So in a way, it's like I'm getting my inventory for free. Or at least that's my thought. I'll have to see how it works out. And then I'll have to see where shoes go. Like, I've got to see, there's going to be a certain point where you can only find so many 50 to 50 plus shoes in your area. Like in my area, there's plenty of them, but like the driving time and the traffic and the store hours, there are limiting factors that come into play. So once you max out, do you start to sell lower tier items, or what do you do at that point? So I'm still in the exploratory phase, I guess, trying to figure that out.
All right, Dana, do you want to chat? Dana, how do you double your store?
So I've been working about that. So I don't want to double the store. I want to 10x the store. And the way I thought about doing it was doing one listing, perfect, slow, and with attention. The reason for doing that is because after a while, you realize that you're pretty much getting the same item over and over and over again. And if you just worry about listing fast, can you become a great lister? Yes. But if you list perfect and you get the same item 10 times, even though my listing takes longer, in the long run, I can 10x or 100x the store in the same amount of time because I sell the same exact item.
Yeah, that's a really good insight. If you want to double or 10x your store, you could reduce the number of things you sell, like categorically. Like if you went from 6 categories to 3 categories, you probably would double your business because you would become an expert in.
Well, Chris, it's kind of like when you were talking in the beginning about like the reseller nightmare, because it's kind of like obviously like the kitchen nightmare or whatever. And we've talked about the first thing he does almost always is cut their menu down. And maybe even cut dead weight in the sense of an employee that he sees immediately, like, dude, this guy's losing you time and money. They immediately start cutting stuff. He doesn't come in and ever add anything. If anything, he may take an employee that he sees that's already there, and he may push them forward to take on more responsibility. But he's going to drop something else. He's always dropping stuff.
That's right. And I think that Glenn Stearns in the show Undercover Billionaire, when he goes into the coffee shop and he trimmed this lady has a coffee shop with a gift shop in it, and it has a bar in it, and it has a full menu, and it has a full bakery, and it has all this stuff in it. And then he says, okay, get rid of everything except for coffee and bakery. And in the morning, people come in, get their coffee, offer them a pastry. That's it. Don't do anything else. Turn everything off. Get rid of your alcohol license. Then immediately, the first day, she goes from selling like 15 cups of coffee to 200 cups of coffee. One day later, okay, after making those changes. Right after he leaves, she reopens the gift shop, opens a website that sells her hats and shirts. Like, she can't help herself. She has to offer more and more categories. So that is instead of making the main thing, her main thing is adding things. So if I went in Reseller Nightmares and I said, Eduardo, you sell 20 different types of toys, we're going to change that menu to 5 different types of toys. All of these other toys that you normally used to sell, we're going to wholesale them to somebody else. You're going to focus on just these 5 toys. It's going to make listing faster, shipping faster. You're going to reduce your storage. So now you pay less in storage, which maybe means you can pick up another person to do something else. And then you start accelerating really fast in one direction instead of being pulled to a million directions. I cannot believe the lady went from 15 cups of coffee to 200 cups of coffee and then opened a gift shop on her website. Like, what are you doing? Why would you offer a hat when people come in and order coffee and buy a pastry? That's not awesome. And she was really good at baking. And the guy's like, that's perfect. That's the perfect add-on. That's a perfect add-on because it's at the time of sale and they actually want that. But I think a lot of people have an alcohol license, so they can't serve coffee before 10 a.m. So they lose all those customers. So maybe if Eduardo is a weapons expert, maybe selling full sets is his alcohol before 10 a.m. Maybe selling full sets of things prevents him from being the best part dealer on eBay for toys. I don't know. Let's go with Ina. Ina, what's up?
I'm just thinking, I specialize in dresses and mainly Target dresses. And I have three of the same company brands that I have a lot of with different colors, different sizes. So right now I'm doing listings with each size. Let's say I have one universal thread dress in a color brown, red, and black, and I'll do a separate listing for each size. Now, would it make sense to keep that, but also do a listing that includes all three colors with the set? I mean, it's going to be complicated, but I'd have to do it very meticulously, like we
Yep.
discussed, and do all the colors. And you guys talk about the variation listings when it gets good traction, to never take it down, but to just add to it. Or what is your take on that concept of maybe doubling, how, what we're talking about now?
So you could do a multi-variation listing and try to rank it on top. And there's a couple things that I would consider there. I think it needs to be the exact same brand. So let's say you have a New Day or something. That's the brand that you have, and you want to list every single size variation and color variation of a New Day dress. That would work over time. That would continue to rank higher and higher and higher as you sell more of them. And what you could do is just keep adding different dress styles, colors, sizes to that variation listing for one brand. But if you do more than one brand, I don't think it would work. So one brand at a time, you could definitely do a replenishable target dress listing. And in that scenario, if you're trying to rank on top, I would do free shipping, free returns. I might add a subtitle saying best selection of Target dresses on eBay. We ship immediately. I would put in the description, I'm a Target dress expert. I have all the styles. I know all the fits. You should buy from me. And you might have that listing for 10 years and rank number one for dress in Target. And that's a fantastic idea.
Thank you. I'll think on that more and maybe do some research if there's anything like that out there.
So as an example, I always use my friend Ahmad's store. This is an example of that. It's all Michael Kors. He sold 1,873 of these little wallets. He just goes to Michael Kors and adds different styles when they have them. It's the same one, but with just different colors. So you could build this type of listing and rank over time. So this is something, a listing that, see, it's relatively straightforward, but he pretty much only sells Michael Kors. Nobody else has this kind of selection. So if you have the biggest selection of Target dresses and you have a picture like this, where, holy crap, I can get any of those colors, then let me see if they're different prices. They are. So this is cool because that means each one is a different rarity. So you could do the same thing with dresses. And people could still, but I think the money maker is this picture. This one. So a Target dress listing, you can see on the first picture that there's a lot of selection. That would do well because people like selection. Maybe that's something I don't talk about enough on this channel, is having a big selection of the same thing is like a cheat code. So I'm all in it. I would love to help you rank a Target dress listing all the way to the top. A lot of people are looking for Target dresses because they are on trend but cheap, right? So if you go to Plato's Closet or Buffalo Exchange or Clothes Mentor, any of those places, and you have an on-trend dress that's Target, they will still buy it from you even though it's not a mall brand because it's on trend.
It's working and it's wild. People are paying more than retail price with the shipping included. And it blows my mind. But I think because it's a lower cost, they're willing, and it's a decent looking, it's a really nice dress, but it's just maybe not the quality. They're willing to pay that money, and it blows my mind.
I would say like Wild Fable jeans is an example of a Target brand. They sell really well, sometimes over retail. It could say $18.99 on the tag and sell for $19.99 plus shipping. So if people know what they like, they know their brand. And also it's on trend. Like all the home goods at Target are on fire. So people don't want to spend $300 on a pillow Anthropology. They can go to Target and get the same pillow for $40. So even though they're paying $30 for a $20 Target item on eBay, that's still way cheaper than that same dress at Madewell is 10 times the price. So it
Chris, I
is what
think
it
you,
is.
you get
Go ahead.
more sales too. So if somebody's looking for a Target dress and they see that you have, 60 different variation styles of it, they're more apt to buy, 2 or 3 from you at the same time.
100%, because selection is huge. People will buy more than one. Brian sold a George Polo for $16.99. I sold a Kirkland tank top for $14.99, and it was like it's $8 at Costco. So I mean, people, if they want something and you have it, it's unlikely, but you can still sell stuff, especially if you have a large selection. Because somebody was probably just in my store and was like, "Okay, I want that tank top. I don't care that it's Kirkland. It's still not that expensive." George's
I've heard from
Walmart.
buyers and family and friends that are consumers that just the commute and the gas, at this point, it's worth to just get it to your door. Like I keep
Yeah,
hearing that.
100%.
Yeah? And then if you're not getting Amazon, you can always get something cheap, but you're getting Alibaba, you know what you're getting. On eBay, you see Target and you immediately think that level, like you said, where Amazon, you don't always know what you're going to get. It doesn't always look like the picture.
That's right. A Target dress never over promises also. So Tice is asking about the opportunity to buy Target pallets. It's one of the more common pallets you can buy. Target, Walmart, Home Depot. Target's really huge. You can find lots of it. What is the men's brand that is it Good Threads? Can't remember the Target brand. I've purchased
Verona.
many.
They have
What's up?
Morona. They have Morona.
Yeah,
and
Marina. Good fellow, thank you. So I purchased at least 10 Target pallets, and they're okay. The problem is when you'll get Goodfellow t-shirts size small. That's like fireplace material. It just does not sell. It's like not a good size. It's used sometimes. So that comes in it, right? So you might get a jacket and some dresses that are all nice, but you have to offset the $1 to $3 stuff that is difficult to sell, but that's all included in the pallet. So it ends up making your cost of goods higher. And so that's why it's difficult, because she's asking what is an ideal cost of goods. It's hard to say because the pieces that you can't sell increase the cost of goods. So you could do what Cheryl says and lot them up. That's an excellent idea. Go ahead.
If I may add, my area is flooded with liquidations here of Target. So right now they're all clothing items are $2 a piece. They go as low as 50 cents sometimes a piece. And this is like you hand pick whatever you want. So I can't even imagine how cheap you should and could be getting it as a pallet.
Yeah, it could be. I think it's around $3 to $4 people are paying for Target. $3 to $4. There's some different price points for clothing. So one more thought on this, because there's the whole gamut. I talked to somebody yesterday or this week that sells clothing by the container. So they sell a container to let's say another country, 50,000 pounds, and they make $1,000 profit. That's like the low, like what I don't even, what is that? That's 2 cents. Is that right? 2 cents a clothing item profit. So I just wanted to show people the absolute extreme end of profit per item of 2 cents per item profit. The volume per month was 3 containers a day. So 300 employees. That is an operation. My goodness. So up to three containers a day. That's 150,000 pounds of garbage that Americans produce in that one area of the country, going to a different country. That's so insane, staggering. And I bet 80% of it is Target, Walmart, Costco, the lowest Old Navy stuff. But in some countries, Old Navy is considered luxury. Yeah, because I know Tech talks about this sometimes, but in my flea market, there's definitely people looking for Old Navy. Like that's good enough for their where they're flipping it. But I just I can't imagine selling 50,000 pieces of clothing and making $1,000. It's a lot. That's literally a shipping container full. Sally, do you have another question or comment?
I hate to kind of keep nagging here,
Go ahead.
but I really live in the land of Nike.
Mhm.
All kinds of family stuff, family business here. We get weird Nike shoes that are prototypes. I have a Nike outlet store. I mean, they're all over the place. I really want to find someone who says, Sally, I'm going to get on this channel with you or have a private, and I'll pay them a percentage of sales on those if they will do nothing but with me with a GoPro on it, say, buy that one, don't buy that one. I mean, I have things called Air Force Ones that I understand are pretty good. I don't know what to do with them. And I feel like I'm getting screwed all the time when I pick a price and then take a lowball offer. So truly, if somebody has the extensive knowledge and doesn't want to screw with finding them, pricing them, or finding them or describing them or photoing, I'm good at that stuff. I really am looking for a partner for shoes because I don't want to be a shoe person. How do I find them?
I don't have the exact instructions for finding them, but I also know that you live in the land of people who love sneakers. So you live in an area where people love sneakers to the point where that is their dream job. So I would just put up an ad maybe for a lover of Nike that would like to source for you. And you
I
need a
also
certain
have a
profit.
friend who works at Nike, so I don't know if there's any friends and family stuff. I just don't know. I'm passing by Nike shoes that somebody wants $12 for, and maybe they're worth $100, but I say, nah, I'm not sure, so I pass it by. Landon, are you a shoe person, Landon?
Yeah, I could possibly be interested in that. We could talk on the side, depending on how we could set it up.
And I'd be willing to inventory them, ship them, do everything else. And believe me, I do a good job for you. I'm just missing that entire market because I am out of my element.
Yeah, we can talk on the side. And what I don't know, I can find out. I can find out fast. So
Perfect. Thank you.
So Sally, I'm just curious. So that means you're like an everything seller. You sell a lot of things.
No,
Because if you focus on shoes, you would learn as well as you go. It's just something that takes time, right? But you'll learn and
okay.
then you'll be great at it, and then you wouldn't need any help. I mean, it's not that it's not that I'm saying that you don't have to get the help. I'm just saying, if you niche down on shoes and you decide you're going to do that, you're going to be great at that. Because you
I don't
have
want to. I don't want to niche down on shoes. I really
Okay.
like the mall brand clothes thing. I enjoy doing that, and I can find lots of comps. But I mean, shoes are weird for me. It's just one of those things. Find what you're good at and do it.
so why
I'm not
sell
good
them?
at it. I don't
So-
understand sports. That's a whole bunch of the thing. It'll say the name of a player and have a quote from him inside the shoe. And I'll think, well, what's some guy writing a quote? I don't even know who he is. And somebody else will say, Sally, you should have gotten those. Those are Damien somebody, and he writes personal stuff in them. So that's where it's not my thing. It's kind of like guns. I really don't.
Sally, the reason I mentioned that is not, I didn't want to give you a hard time on that. It's just that because I remember my time from the storage unit auctions where I would buy anything that would mean or sound like a lot of money. And then I ended up with a ton of crap that that it's really valuable because it is. And I'm selling toys. And because I'm selling toys all the time, which is my niche, I have all this bunch of things sitting there that are worth a lot of money. Some of them I don't even know really how much you're worth. And I remember once, and this is something I don't want to say it's a mistake, but it's something I did. I want one of the owners of the storage unit called me and said, "Hey, before we do the storage, do you want to buy this locker?" And then he showed me the locker, and he said, "If you give me $6,000, it's yours." It was full of electronics, like speakers and all of that, and I purchased it because there were over $100,000 worth of merchandise in there. The thing is, I still have stuff, and it's just sitting there because I'm listing items little by little and then setting my toys, which is what I'm focused on, but it's worth a ton of money, but my toys are also worth money. So I have to kind of like, that's where I was like listening to you, and I was like, well, either just be good at the electronics or the speakers or whatever that I bought, or be good at toys, but they're both worth money, right? So you kind of have to choose a side because you're always going to pass on stuff, or you're always going to have the opportunity of buying great stuff that's worth a lot. But if you're in that area where you have access to those sneakers, and that becomes like something you can